Hi everyone, and welcome to Baby Loss, Grief and Love. I'm your host Kelly Wells, and I run UK charity Making Miracles, who bring you today's podcast. The podcast is open to parents, professionals, families, colleagues, organisations, health professionals, anyone that wants to come on and be a part of raising awareness in our baby loss community. We are based in the UK, however, we welcome international guests, and anyone, wherever you are very welcome here. If you'd like to get in touch, please email me, kelly@makingmiracles.org.uk, and please also consider making a donation to help us be able to continue with this amazing tool, supporting all of those people in baby loss. Thank you so much. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's podcast. Today we are joined by Jess. Thank you so much for joining us, Jess.
That's all right.
Where are you in the world again?
Newbury, sort of Berkshire way, near Reading.
Lovely.
Out in the
We were just
sticks.
talking off air a little bit that you're out in the sticks a little bit, and we'll talk
Yes.
about that again in a moment and what that actually means for you in the way of support.
Yeah.
But you've had two losses.
Yes, yeah,
Do
too.
you want to talk us through?
Yeah, so my first loss was my daughter Ada May. I lost her 2 hours after she was born in July of last year. She was born at 22 weeks, 21 weeks, sorry, and 5 days. And she survived for 2 hours and then passed away. And then I lost my second daughter, Winnie Rose, in January of this year. She was born at 22 weeks plus 5, so literally the same.
Oh, I'm so
She
sorry.
unfortunately was stillborn and she was extremely premature. I seem to have an issue with my cervix. It doesn't want to help, it doesn't want to work, it doesn't want to do what it's made to do. So unfortunately, I've lost my two little girls, but I am very, very lucky to have my son who is 9 going on 19 and keeps me on my toes. So yeah, but I'm now in this community that I never ever thought I would be, and it's different. Life is very, very different since losing the girls, and it's just managing it every day is difficult. It really
Mm.
is. But yeah, I never thought I'd be here. I really didn't.
No, and obviously that's what we briefly talked about off air,
Yeah,
what you wanted to talk about today. And
yeah,
it is, I guess, being thrust into this life that no
yeah.
one ever expects, no one ever
No,
wants
yeah,
it. And not just once, but twice.
yeah,
And kind of where that then leaves you. And I know a big thing for you is the lack of support that you've had.
yeah, yeah.
And that's important. So how do you feel like, I mean, you talk about these two different lives. How do you think it's changed, obviously, from going from not having lost before to lost and
Yeah.
then losing again?
I feel like in myself, before I had my son and I nearly lost my son at 20 weeks because of my cervix not working, but I was extremely lucky that the doctors at the John Radcliffe in Oxford managed to save his life and he's here to this day.
Mm.
I I was just this normal, happy-go-lucky person, quite mouthy as you get. You get that, don't you, in younger? I was just a normal, I just was happy-go-lucky. I had my little boy and just, I was just normal. But since losing the girls, I'm not that person anymore. I would rather be in the house. I don't want to be outside anymore. I want to be in the house. I am very protective of my son now because you get this idea that you're going to lose him as well. Because it just
Mm.
seemed at the time with my first daughter losing Ada and then losing Winnie, and unfortunately we then lost our beloved dog. On my daughter Winnie died on the Monday, our dog died on the Sunday.
Oh
It just felt
gosh.
like the Grim Reaper was stood at my door, and I just felt like, oh my God, my son, what, I can't lose him. I can't. And I'm not the person I was. I'm not outgoing. I'm not as friendly as I was. I would rather just be in the house away from people. I'm quite, I know it's going to sound awful. I'm a little bit bitter because when you go out in public and you see other pregnant people, you feel jealousy. You feel like, well, how come you got to keep your baby and I didn't? And Winnie's due date was the 27th of May, and I didn't go out all day. I stayed indoors, and I just thought I can't go out and see pregnant people, knowing that my daughter should have been coming into the world today. And you do, and I do. I must admit, I do feel quite bitter about things.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I'm not that person anymore. And I think grief is it's a hard one. It really is. Every day you have to live with the fact that you have got two children that should have been here that are not here. And
Mm.
as a mum, you are constantly, well, what if? What if this had been different? What if I'd done this differently? What would they have
Mm.
been like? What would you have all this going on all the time and it never goes? It's like noise all the time. It never disappears.
Like chaos.
Yeah, you can't get rid of it. I think about my girls every day, don't get me wrong, and I'd love to have I like you sit there and you think, oh, I wonder what they would have been doing, like what outfit would have had them on and things. And I had everything ready for them. And you've then got to go back and take your pram back. You've then got to sell all their baby clothes on Vinted. And you sit there and you think, oh my God, I didn't want to be doing this. I didn't want to do this. Why am I doing this? What did I do so wrong that I got put here? And I just don't get it. And now this is my life. This is reality. I've got to live with the fact that both my little girls are gone when they were so wanted. And I'm not the same person. I never will be ever again.
Mm.
I'm not a miserable person. I try and find joy in things, but you struggle because other people get to. I wish every baby came into this world happy and healthy. Don't get me wrong. I don't want, I would hate for anybody to have to go through loss. But you just feel a bit bitter when you're walking around. You see people with their growing bumps, and you think, "Oh, that was meant to be me." And yeah, it is difficult. But I'm never going to be the same person I was before. Never going to be like a happy-go-lucky person. And I believe people notice that about me now.
Yeah.
Life, yeah, just won't ever be the same.
Do you think though, I mean, you talked about feeling quite isolated and quite
Mm.
alone, and you talked about obviously your rural location.
Yeah,
Do you think if you did get the support, you would feel a bit differently? Do you think it's a
yeah,
situation of that you haven't had the support, that like you mentioned there are meetings and
yeah,
things like that are very far away from you, that
yeah.
there isn't that kind of community that is supporting you? Is that what you feel is missing here?
I didn't. I've not. With my first daughter Ada, it was very much nurses coming in, midwives coming in to my home. When I came out of hospital, I think I stayed in the hospital about a week with Ada because she was in a cold cot to keep her. So we had a week with her, and then I come home and it was like all these people were coming in, like bereavement and everyone, it felt okay. People were listening, like they're coming in to check on me. I didn't. I had a best friend from year 7 in secondary school. She completely tossed me to the side. I was a nuisance. I was not worthy of her friendship no more because I'd lost my baby. And then
Wow.
everyone around our little group of friends decided I was a nuisance. I was this grief-stricken mum that was, we don't want nothing to do with her anymore. And they all disappeared and I've not spoke to them since. And I had my partner, I had my son, I had my mum, and I had all these people coming in. But when Winnie died, nobody came near me. No bereavement, no midwives, nobody from the hospital, nothing like that. I had nothing. And
Why was
I've
that?
no idea. The only person I have had consistency from Ada to Winnie was the bereavement lady, Candice, at John Radcliffe. She is an angel in the darkest of times, and she's stuck by me throughout all of this. Honestly, I appreciate her friendship so much because she's been there for me. But the thing around Winnie's death is there was quite a lot of medical negligence with her death. And I think they're
Wow.
aware of that. And that's why they kind of left me alone because I think they know that something's wrong in what they did. But I've had nothing. It's just been me and my partner, my son and my mum this time with Winnie. I've had no support from
Mm.
anybody, no medical support, nothing. And I don't have a
Mm.
friendship group because they all left me when I had Ada and I was a problem. So yeah, you don't get there's nothing out here. There's no support groups. Unfortunately, I feel maybe that there's not enough out this way. That's why they don't do them out here. But
Mm.
yeah, I haven't had anything. Sadly,
I'm
I
so
just,
sorry.
suffered with that one.
I'm so sorry. That is not that's not okay. I mean, you know, like I said to you earlier, this shouldn't be a postcode lottery. It shouldn't be
No,
on where
no.
you live. But I
Yeah.
think for you as well, having that extra loss of friends
Yeah,
must
yeah.
be extremely isolating. And some people, to be blunt, just can't handle grief.
Yeah.
They don't know
Yeah.
what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know how
Yeah.
to understand it. They might have their own issues with grief. They might not know how to support because perhaps
Yeah.
they weren't supported. Perhaps they've got deep-rooted, triggered issues with grief
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
loss that they may have felt come from you. But to completely isolate somebody,
Yeah.
and when they are so low and so in grief, even if people don't know what to say, you could just say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You
Just a
know,
simple message would be fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things there that, I'm really, really sorry you're experiencing that because that's not great. Have you had anyone on the flip side that's kind of come out and supported you that you never would have expected to? Because that often happens with baby
So,
loss.
I mean, my neighbours, I'm extremely lucky that I've got neighbours that are amazing. I mean, my neighbours, Chris and Caroline, they have been so supportive. They have always
Mm,
been like, we're just next door. You need us, we are there. They've never let us down whatsoever. But I don't bother them with everything because they've got their own lives. She always says to me, "You're so strong. You're so strong." And I'm just like, if I didn't have Albie, I don't really know where I'd be now because obviously
mm,
he's neurodiverse, he's got ADHD and autism, and I am his voice, his world. And if I didn't have him, I don't know where I'd be now. As for there's no one really come out of the woodworks, really. The only person that has stood by me the whole way through is Candice from the John Radcliffe.
mm,
She is bereavement. She is on level 7, where unfortunately all the families will go that have lost their babies. And if she had wings come out of her back, I wouldn't be surprised. You can't, she's just the most amazing human I've ever met. And if she just made it that little bit easier when I lost the
mm,
girls, because she was there from the moment it happened to right to the end. And I trusted her beyond belief with the girls. I didn't want anybody else near them, just her. And she made the most amazing memories with their feet prints and their handprints, little pictures. She done so much, and she just the families adore her because she's just there for you. She's just a comfort.
mm,
And I think if she hadn't have been there, I would have struggled massively because I wouldn't have had
mm,
that person. And I'm lucky to still have her friendship. But
mm,
nobody has sort of come out of the woodworks for me to help me. It's always been just me, my partner, my son, and my mum that's sort of just come together.
mm.
And you think your friends are going to be there. And I've noticed a lot, and I've read a lot, that friends do sort of drift off when there's a
Yeah.
loss because they can't cope with the grief. And I understand that because it's a big thing, grief. It really is.
Mm,
And a loss of a child is I mean, you can lose your grandparents and things like that, and obviously you miss them terribly and you're absolutely heartbroken. But when you lose a child, it's on another. I can't even explain to anybody when people have said to me like, I just can't explain to it how it feels. It's just on a totally different level. And
mm,
maybe that's why your friends do drift away from you, because they just can't cope with what you are going through, the grief, because it's big. It is big. And
mm,
unfortunately, my friends just decided that it was too big for them.
mm.
And that was it. They were gone. They never once never got a text just say, "Do you want a coffee? Or would you like to go for a walk? Just to get out the house for 5 minutes? Or do you want to get me to take you for a coffee? Or would you like me to look after your son for an hour so you could have a bath?" Or, just something like that. No. But instead, they just, yeah, went off and did their own thing. Unfortunately, there is more to it. One of them used my daughter's death as a day to get out of work, which I think that sort of started it off there. But it is what it is. I'm not dwelling on that because, yeah, you just have to keep moving with this, really. You can't
Mm.
sit there and dwell on your friendships that if you
No,
can't.
but you can then reconnect with new people who maybe understand a bit more,
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you meet people through the baby loss community. And I think
Yeah,
that's really
yeah,
important too,
yeah,
being able to reach out to people that know how it feels.
yeah,
Obviously, we all have very individual journeys but of
yeah,
experiences, but know how that may be and how isolating, as you say, grief can be. And
yeah,
because you are in a bit more of a rural community,
yeah,
it's difficult, but maybe reaching out online or, doing
yeah,
something like that a bit wider.
yeah.
Coming on the podcast, this is going
I
all
know,
over
I
the
never thought I'd
world.
do this.
Well, this is going all over the world.
Yeah,
So
see,
you
I'm
never
getting out
know. You
there.
might meet a new best friend from Mexico. Who
You
knows?
never know. Nice holiday.
It would, but I do think, because it is, as you say, so different
Mm,
to other kinds of losses,
yeah,
when you do meet people that you can connect with, you can understand, that understand you, that
yeah.
you can talk to, it is a different kind of friendship,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
You understand
something
each other on a different level. Yeah,
100%, because unless you've walked in these shoes, no one does understand.
yeah.
it's unimaginable.
I don't think anybody wants to walk. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. I
Mm,
mean, we usually use that phrase, oh, wouldn't wish it on my worst nightmare. I don't wish this on anybody. To lose a child from zero, like from 1 week gestation all the way through to 18 plus. I mean, currently on the news about this young gentleman that's passed away that was murdered in Southampton. His mum's been thrown into the community in a most horrific way. And the thing, I can't even imagine how she feels right now. But to lose a child at any point of your life, it's just not. I wouldn't wish it on anybody because it's
not
awful.
natural.
No, it's not. You're meant to outlive your children, aren't you? We always say
Yeah.
that. We're meant to outlive them. And I mean, since losing the girls, I am so protective of my son. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want you playing outside because in case you get kidnapped. Or I am just, oh, it's all the time. My mind's constantly going because I'm
Mm,
petrified of losing him as well. And then what have I got? I've got nothing because
mm,
I've already lost the girls. I've lost, if I lose him, my whole world collapses. And I just, it's a different one. I must admit, it's very, very hard and it's harsh. And I just wish that nobody had to go through it. I wish there was a way
mm.
that all children could come home. When they're born, they're here for good. They're happy, they're healthy. And I just, my Instagram, it comes up with ladies, well, families all over the place, and they've lost their babies at 39 weeks or things like. And I think, just my heart honestly breaks every time because I know how they feel, and I
Mm,
absolutely hate it because you're there, you're growing a baby, you can't wait, your new future, you think of all the things that are going to happen, and it's snatched away from you in moments, and it's like you're just thrown. That's it. The world just darkens really quickly. And then you've got to get on with the world stops for you, but the rest of the world keeps moving and you can't seem to understand why it's still moving because you want it to just it's a strange one. I honestly don't
mm.
understand it. And I think losing losing Ada was hard. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But when I lost Winnie and the way she passed, it was like, oh, it was horrific. Yeah, I didn't ever want to be here. I must admit, I would rather my two girls were here playing, and I'd rather be changing a million nappies every day and being thrown up on. But I've just now got to navigate this new way of life, and yeah, it's a struggle. I must admit. You come out of
Mm.
hospital and you've got all the baby clothes ready. You've got the pram sat there because you've made it. You've done all these things, and you come home. You're like, you've just got a box of memories, and you're like, this isn't how it was meant to plan out because you have lost the future that you planned. And yeah, I just find it extremely difficult at times. Some day, and then you feel guilty for, if you have a good day, you feel guilty for that because you're like, well, I shouldn't be laughing or smiling because I've lost my two children. And then you're like, but can you go on that way of life? You need
Mm.
to still find joy in things in your family that you've got. And yeah, it's strange. And I
It's a
just wouldn't
balancing
wish it.
act, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it
It's a
is.
constant balancing act. And I think, the way society is and the way that we probably view ourselves as well isn't that
Yeah.
helpful because
Yeah, yeah.
there's no one's worst enemy other than your own brain
Yeah.
overthinking and, carrying things emotions that aren't very fair to yourself,
Yeah.
like you mentioned guilt and
Oh,
things like
yeah.
that, that we can't we can't do anything with those.
No.
Those emotions are with us because of the experience we've gone through. And
Yeah.
it takes work to process through those emotions.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the reasons why I set up the charity. I want people not to be on their own. I want people to have people to speak to. I want people
Yeah.
to get professional help.
Yeah.
And if you aren't able to get that, I strongly would advise to anyone listening and to yourself, if you are obviously in a position where there isn't a local charity like there is us making miracles,
Yeah.
to go and speak to your GP and ask for some support because you need to have some talking therapy.
Oh,
You
yeah.
need to meet other people, like
Yeah.
I say, reaching out online, things like that is all very helpful. But for you, like you say, you've kind of lost your identity a bit. You don't
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
you're gonna become who you were again before the loss. And to a degree, no one ever will, right?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
in kind of like an ignorance is bliss bubble before
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Now we're in this big wide world. And like you say, you've got other fears coming in now about your living son
Yeah.
because your blinkers are gone. You're
Yeah.
so over sensitive to it because you've seen the extreme worst thing that could ever happen to you twice
Yeah. Yeah.
that you are now thinking about that third child. that may be happening to them. And that's all linked to your trauma around the girls.
Yeah, yeah,
And you
yeah,
need to remember that and logically say to yourself, I'm feeling like this because of this.
yeah,
But what can I do to help myself?
yeah,
I can come on podcasts and talk about it. I can reach out to the community. I can write in a journal because that helps kind
yeah.
of rewire your brain sometimes. If you're overwhelmed, get it out
Get it
on
out. Yeah,
paper.
yeah,
It might lessen the overthinking and the over traumatizing yourself, if you like.
yeah, yeah,
But also, if there aren't any charities that can support you with therapy, reach out to your GP. The waiting list may be long, I'm not going to lie. They're
yeah,
usually about 9 months to a year, if
yeah,
that's even correct for your area. Especially if there isn't a lot of support in your area, they might even be longer.
yeah.
However, get yourself on the list so that you do get a chance to talk to a professional around your grief
I
because
think like talking to I think it's a good idea. You should always speak to a professional, like a medical professional.
mm,
I remember going to my doctor. Believe it was probably after Ada. Medication. There you go. Medication. 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 I'm like, I don't need medication. I just
no.
need support. I don't need to be filling myself with tablets to rattle. I mean, you're just going, right, you need these medications, you need depression tablets, you need sleeping tablets, you need I don't know, it's a very common one I've heard in America in films. I can't remember what it's called. But like some tablet. And I thought, but okay, yeah, I was struggling to sleep because every time I fell asleep after Ada, I was having nightmares because it was just reliving it all the time in my brain.
Mm,
And after Winnie, I think it was worse nightmares because I was reliving the trauma of it all. And it was just, oh, you need sleeping tablets, you need medication, you need this. And I thought, if this is what you're giving to ladies that have lost a baby, that's really poor because we don't want to be filled with medication. We just want support. We want to
mm,
talk about our children. We want to talk
mm.
about everything. We want to have that. We don't want to be filled with medication all the time because you're pretty much just covering it over. You're not
Sure,
doing
sure.
anything. Yeah.
I'm not a medical professional and I'm not here to slate GPs, but grieving is the most natural process any human
Yeah.
will go through.
Yeah.
Even animals, you see animals on
Oh, when they
wildlife
lose their owners.
documentaries when they
Yeah.
lose their children, their little baby,
Yeah.
not children, babies of whatever animal they are. But it is the most natural thing.
Yeah.
What we ideally would like to provide, and this is me talking as a therapist, is that kind of talking therapy to
Yeah.
help people move through grief.
Yeah. Not to cover it over with medication, I
If
think.
you
Is yeah.
do, if you are depressed and you have clinical depression,
Yeah.
tablets, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not pro or con of this, I'm saying both sides.
Yeah.
Um, but if you are grieving and you need some support, talking therapy is going to be the best route forward. I think the
100% agree.
struggle for the GPs is you can instantly access a tablet. You
Yeah.
can't instantly access a therapist.
Yeah.
There are waiting times. It's expensive where everything's under pressure.
Yeah.
Tablets are cheaper, tablets are quicker, tablets are
We
a
can get hold of tablets
go-to.
quicker, give it to you. Get
Yeah, they're
yeah,
a
yeah.
go-to because in a world where things don't happen very quickly,
Yeah.
that's kind of
What
what
it
they've
is,
got to
yeah.
offer. So
Yeah.
I really feel for GPs because they probably do see that you could do with some talking therapy.
Yeah.
However, they will try tablets first rather than the talking therapy first. And
Yeah, yeah.
if someone is really struggling with sleep and needs a sleep tablet, that is absolutely fine. But there are also other things they can do to help with their sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
If someone is feeling depressed, I mean, who isn't going to feel depressed if they've just lost their baby?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Everyone's going to feel depressed, but
Yeah.
is that clinical depression? Is that depression that's, going to progress worse and end up in a mental health crisis?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's different areas of
Yeah.
this, and it is such a difficult conversation to have because I've got my therapist head on me, I've got my parent head on me,
Yeah.
and human head on me, but then I've also got to see the flip side and what a state we're in at the moment with
Yeah.
regards to
Yeah.
costings and NHS and funding and
That's the
everything
problem, isn't
else.
it? Because if
It's,
the funding was there, we would have that, the
yeah,
talking therapies we could be able to do.
if the
Yeah.
funding was there, I'd make Making Miracles national and international and I'd trial the therapy. I'd love to do that. But
Yeah, yeah.
the pot isn't there.
Yeah, it's not there for
It's
us.
too difficult. It's too hard. So, it's sadly, it's the way of the world at the moment, and that
Yeah.
isn't really anyone's fault. But I would strongly advise you to think like you did do I actually need to be on tablets? Because as
Yeah.
you say, some of these tablets are there to dull these intense feelings.
Yeah.
If they're intense feelings and you're very, very poorly, that's understandable. You need that to be dulled. But
Yeah.
this is a feeling of grief that we need to work through.
Yeah.
Actually, if I had someone, say, for example, sat in front of me having therapy that was on heavy medication for depression,
Yeah.
that would be hard for me to help the person process because they've been numb to it by the medication.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it kind
Yeah.
of needs to go hand in hand, but talking
Yeah.
therapy is the best way forward. I mean, I'm a bit biased, I'm a therapist, right? But that I believe in the world of baby loss, talking to a specialist baby loss therapist is the way forward.
Oh,
Talking to
100%.
someone who knows about grief,
Yeah.
understands it,
Yeah.
a general bereavement counsellor, like you say, this is a very unique niche kind of grief.
Yeah.
But even speaking to a general bereavement counsellor is better than speaking to nobody,
Oh,
you know.
100%. Yeah.
And there's lots of people online that can support. It's just there's only so much charities can do, like us,
Yeah. Yeah.
because of the funding, and we can't open up to the whole world, sadly, which I would love
Oh,
to
of
do because I
course.
don't
Yeah.
think anyone should not get access to support because of where they live.
Yeah.
However, we're all in this predicament at the moment in that we haven't got the money to do it. So
Yeah. It's a shame, isn't it, really?
it's
Because I can
very
imagine.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some people may be able to afford private therapy. Some therapists offer people on a low income or no income discounted therapy.
Oh,
So it
right.
is
Yeah.
worth looking around and seeing
Yeah.
if there's anyone, even if you did it online, if you could get some support, if you could pay a bit towards it.
Yeah.
But for many people, they don't have that luxury. So
Yeah.
again, you're in a catch-22. So
It's
it's really
difficult, isn't it?
difficult to
Yeah.
talk to you and sit and hear all this from you because all I want to do is support you.
Oh,
But
bless you.
it's so hard when we're just in this really tricky situation at the
Yeah.
moment with where you are in the world and it being a
Sadly, it's just nothing
location.
round here. I mean, you go online, you type it all in, and I remember going on the Sands website and it said there was a meeting here in Newbury. I was like, oh, fab. I can get to that. Meet other parents that have gone through this. Yeah, no, they closed it down in 2016. And I was like, oh, where do I go then? So found Windsor. Me and my partner went to the Windsor, and it was us two, a gentleman who his story was exactly the same as ours. It was scary, but his was a little boy instead of a little girl. And then there was a lady who had lost, I can't remember if she lost twin boys and she was pregnant again, bless her. And then the two ladies that were holding the meeting, they both obviously lost as well. And
Mm,
it was, I sat in a room with these people and I thought, I can speak about my situation and not feel judged. Oh God, the grief. Oh God, here we go. We're talking about this again. I didn't feel judged once, and
mm,
everyone was listening. We all listened to each other's stories. We were all different, apart from this gentleman seemed very similar to ours. But I thought, look at us all though. We, if do you know what I mean? We're all here for the same reason. It's crazy that we've all gone through this. There's going to be many, many more, obviously, but I felt, I just thought I just didn't feel judged. I felt that I could
mm,
sit in that room and talk about Ada till I was blue in the face and about my situation, and nobody was going to go there and go, oh, God, like, we're talking about this again. Or, oh, I do notice as time goes on, if I mention the girls to anybody, I do see the odd eye roll and things like that. And I'm like, everybody talks about their living children. Why can't I talk about my children that are not here no more?
absolutely.
They're still my children. I still gave birth to them. They're my children. I'll always be a
Because
mum of
they find it
three.
awkward.
Yeah. I always see it like, and it's horrible to say. My mum is one of them. I do see the odd eye roll when people say to me, "Oh, how are you doing?" And I said, "Well," and you talk about it, mum, like that, and I'm like, "They're your grand." My mum's an old school person. We're very country. She's very country herself, but very old school. And obviously, she's now been thrown into a world of loss as well because she's lost her grandchildren. But every now and again, it feels like she's like, oh, here we go, talking about them again. Yeah, because they're still my children. They might not be here every day, but they are still my children. I am still a
Mm,
mum of three, and I'll always be a mum of three, whether they're walking next to me or, walking beside me, but you can't see them. You're still a mum. And yeah, it felt good to be in that room with them, the other people, because it just felt like I said, I wasn't judged. I felt we could talk and no one was rolling their eyes at me or being like, oh my God, let's change the
mm,
subject. And we walked out of there and we didn't go back after that because my partner's a long distance lorry driver. So he's never here to do anything with me. So, and I didn't want to go on my own. So I've not been back. And then obviously I lost Winnie, and I was a bit like, every time I look to see when their meetings are on, it's always gone and I've missed it. So I don't ever go. But yeah, around here we don't have no meetings. We don't have coffee mornings. We don't have anything like that for people that have lost their children. The only thing I'm aware of is at Christmas they have a little tree for children that have passed, which is lovely. But I think there needs to be more, because families need support big time in this situation, because the grief is really, really real, and it really does take over you sometimes.
Mm.
And I mean, it's every day. It's every day you've got to go forward. You've got to do. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
yeah, Pete, there needs to be more support, and yeah, there's just not enough, I don't think, for families. There really isn't. There needs to be so
Mm.
much more meetings, coffee mornings, walks, something. Just something. I know, as a like losing the girls, I would have been so appreciative of someone just saying, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go for a coffee? Do you want to just sit and cry? Do you want to go and have a hot bath, and I'll do your washing up or something for you? Just something. It would have been nice. But or just, yeah, it's a shame, really. It is a shame. But like you said, the funding's just not there for these things, and
Mm.
it is a shame. It really is. But I hope in couple of years to come, something might change, so then more for families that go through this. I know that Candice at the John Radcliffe, she does a lot of things to try and was involved with the birth certificate before certain
Oh, the
gestation.
24-week.
Yeah, she was very
Yeah.
involved with things like that at the JR. So I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
yeah.
important. It's important.
Oh, 100%.
You've talked about your relationships with obviously your bereavement midwife. You've talked about your relationships with your friends, and
Yeah.
you've talked about your relationship with your son and your mum.
Yeah.
How's it been with you and your partner?
He's ex-army, so I'll let you figure that one out. They don't talk about nothing. He suffers with PTSD anyway from being in the army, obviously going on tours and
Right.
things. He's seen things that no one's seen. Um, he's already got two children of an older age, and I'll always remember he kept saying, "Oh, we'll have a baby. We'll have." I was like, "No, no more kids. My son's enough." But when we fell pregnant with Ada, it was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be a mum again," sort of thing. And he was so excited. All he wanted was a little girl. That's all he's ever wanted, was a little girl. Over the moon. Losing both the girls has absolutely destroyed him. I know he's not the same person that he was before we fell pregnant with Ada. And I think for him, what's worse is when Winnie was born, he wasn't here. He was out of the country. He was in his lorry in Milan, and he couldn't get back. So he missed her birth and everything, and that broke him. And I mean, he was on edge anyway with Winnie's pregnancy, because once you lose one baby, you are on edge. You can't ever
Yeah, of
seem to
course.
enjoy your pregnancy afterwards, because you're constantly thinking something's going to go wrong. And he he won't talk to people. You could get him a therapist, he wouldn't talk to them. He won't talk to me. He will I try and say things about the girls, and he's very shut down on it. But like he always says, I'm a man. And I'm like, you might be a man, but you still have feelings and emotions that you have every right to tell me about. You have
Mm.
every right to cry on my shoulder, do whatever. We have to support each other. I thought we wouldn't be together, because you think, such a loss, we're going to break down. We're not going to be able to support each other. We're going to separate. And thankfully, touch wood, we haven't. We're still together, and we're okay. But there are days when you know, I feel he should open up a bit more. But I don't push him, because I know that probably is going to be worse. But he has struggled. He's not the same person. You can see it in him. He's not. He misses the girls, and I have to just plod along with him, sort of thing. I don't push him because I don't want to upset him, or yeah, he took it hard. He really did. All he wanted was a little girl. He got two. And then I shouldn't, but I always feel that I've let him down, because I'm the mum. You're meant to protect them, aren't you, for 9 months, and I lost them. And then I feel like I let him down, because I was giving, basically, that one thing that you wanted was just in reach, and it sort of disappeared. And I feel like, you get into a little bit of an argument and go, "Oh, you wanted the girls, it's all my fault, blah, blah, blah." And then he's like, "It's not your fault, though. You couldn't help any of this." But you always feel like you let them down because you were meant to protect them. But I think that's just my mum mind, and, everything in my mind
Oh,
going
of
on.
course. Your
Yeah.
instinct as a mum is always to protect, but
Yeah.
we can't protect babies that we can't see if there's something wrong.
Yeah. That's the problem. I've just not. I've got, as the doctor says, I've got the equipment, but the mechanism doesn't work properly. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, he's never going to be the same. And I mean, I know it's awful to say he's not even told his two sons live up north, and he's not even told them about the girls passing because he says, I just can't do it to him. He said one day, he's obviously doesn't see him very often. He said, but one day I will sit down and I'll tell him everything. He's like, but I can't do it. He said, because either I'm going to break or they're going to break. He said, and I can't see them. He doesn't want to see them upset. Now, part of me is like, they need to know, obviously. They're aware there was girls coming, but we've just never told them the situation or what's happened or anything like that. We've just kept quiet because it's a lot, isn't it? You have to tell. I mean, my son's going to be 9 this month, and obviously being neurodiverse, his first ever part of death was his two sisters. He'd never experienced death before. He didn't even know about death. Sitting front row at a funeral at the age of 8, yes, that was hard. Watching that boy's heart break because he's seeing these coffins that he's never seen a coffin before, or he might have seen it on the telly, in a film. That's, to me, that broke me, I think, more than anything, because I never wanted to put him through that. So both of them have took a hit massively. All I can do is support them as much as I can. I mean, my son's having help at school with Elsa, and there was a charity that did reach out through the school because the school made them aware. But as for my partner, nothing. He won't speak to nobody. He's very, I'll keep it in. I'm not telling anybody anything. And
It's
I
very
have to.
difficult. It's very difficult with men.
But sadly, men think they shouldn't express their feelings, but they should. It's not making you any different of a man. It's not making you weak. It's not making you, you are a man. You are entitled to feelings. You're entitled to emotions. Speak it if you want to. No one's going to think any different of you. I respect somebody for that, Cry your eyes out in front of me. I'm only going to sit there and help you and try and talk you through it. But unfortunately, no, he's not that type of man. I think he thinks that if he cries or he does say something, he's going to be weak. When I've told him a million times, just tell me. But no, he don't. He's typical, burly lorry driver, doesn't want to tell me anything. So just have to just plod along by his side. And I think one day he'll hit. One day it will hit him. I think, and that's when he'll
There's only
cry.
only so much you can repress.
Yeah. And I think something's going to happen. It's going to happen somewhere, and he's going to just break down to a certain point. But I will make sure that I am there with him 100% to carry him through it, because he's always been by my side. He's never let me suffer in any way. He was always sat next to me whenever I was crying, or unfortunately he wasn't there for Winnie's birth, but that wasn't his fault. And I know he regrets it, and I know he holds it against himself, but I've always told him it's not your fault. You weren't to know she was going to come that early. You weren't to know that things were going to go wrong. But I know that he does hold that.
Yeah.
But I'll always be there for him.
It's so difficult. So
Yeah.
difficult.
But I just stand by him. I'll be there. I mean, he's done it for me, so I'll do it for him. I'm not going to leave him. Even if
Oh,
we
it's
split
good you've
up,
got
I'd
each
do it.
other.
He's annoying, don't get me wrong. But
Aren't they all?
I'll stay there. He's done it for me, so I ain't gonna leave it. Even if we were to split up tomorrow, I'd still be his friend and I'd still support him, because we do have girls. We have our girls, and no matter what, I would support him for anything. So yeah, we'll get there. It's one of them.
Well, it's been great to have you coming on
Thank
and
you for
to be
having me.
able to talk about your girls.
Yeah.
To, even though you can't see all the thousands of people behind me that will be listening to you, you are voicing how you feel about your isolation, about your
Yes.
relationships, and I am sure there are so many people that will be able to relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And if people do want to have a chat with you, I can pass on
Oh
details and
yeah.
things
Yeah.
like that. If anyone is out there feeling isolated and they do want to reach out and create a friendship, that's obviously something that you
Yeah,
guys can
yeah.
do, if
Yeah.
they hear your story and things resonate, because I think that's really important as well. There could be 20 of you sat out there feeling very alone and
Yeah.
isolated. And if there's one good thing this podcast can bring, it's number one, reducing that feeling of isolation, but number two, being able to create connections between people.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's really
People can reach
important.
out to me anytime. I mean, I'm not very good with social media, I'll be brutally honest. I only have Instagram. But there has been a couple of people that are from America that have just added me because they've lost their children, and I
Mm,
follow them back, and I follow a few charities, and it's yeah, if there's other ladies out there, gentlemen, ladies, anybody that have been in the same situation, I'm more than happy to talk to them through it, and they can just vent to me. They can tell me everything about what they're going through and stuff. I'll happily sit there and listen. I'm not like a bereavement person or anybody like that, but
No,
just
it's
listening.
about creating connections between people that are isolated in this
Yeah,
baby loss community.
yeah,
You know, it's I'm not like Cilla Black on Blind Date trying to set people up, but if people can, identify with what you're
yeah,
saying, number
yeah,
one, it might be enough for them just to hear that there is someone out there that so they're not alone. They're
yeah,
not
100%.
in that feeling thinking, is it just me that's been neglected by my friends? Or
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Hasn't got
yeah,
anyone to talk to, or I live in a rural community in Spain or wherever.
yeah,
I haven't got any kind of charities that can support me. I don't want to go to the doctor and be put on meds.
yeah.
Whatever the scenario is, if there are linked
Oh,
things
100%.
there,
Yeah,
then, it's nice to have a chat to someone. And one thing this podcast is about, obviously, it's about the charity. It's about me being a therapist and being able to give you a little bit of practical support or
yeah,
advice or whatever you want to call it. It's about connecting people. It's about reducing isolation in baby loss.
yeah,
So that is a really, really important thing to me. And, as soon as you started talking before when we were off air, I thought, there's a real possibility here that you
yeah.
could, make a really nice connection with someone out there who
Yeah, there
gets
needs to be
it.
something there because I
Yeah.
feel that there's not enough. There is support out there, don't get me wrong, like charities, that are people that have, there is things, but there's not as much as there needs to be. And I understand that, like, with charities, there's not enough money and things like that. But there has to be a little bit more for families going through it, because you could have a family in Spain, like you said, that the mum might not have any family. She might be on her own, and then she needs somebody to talk to, but she feels isolated because she's in a new country, things like that. There's got to be more, because with Ada, I had it all. But with my other daughter, there was nothing. I was just completely left alone. I had
Mm.
nothing. No one from the hospital, nothing like that. And I mean, when you give birth and you bring home your baby, you've got midwives coming in, health visitors, left, right, and centre. They don't leave you alone. And I remember with Ada, they were all coming here, and it was okay. If this is what it's like, you do get a bit of support. And with Winnie, it was like, I'm home. No one knows
Mm.
who I am anymore. Nobody wants to know me. And then you get the odd email every now and again from the hospital at Oxford. Oh, well, we're doing this, and we're looking into your daughter's death, and we're having a mortality thing, and all this. And it's like, yeah, but no one's rang me and just said, are you all right? Like, has anybody asked for my opinion? Then they send you a letter and you've got to sign it just to, oh, do you want to ask any questions? Well, yeah, I have millions of them, but wouldn't that be better if I came in and spoke to somebody instead of writing it on a
Yeah.
piece of paper? Like, you just sort of get thrown to the side. And is that with women that have had multiple losses? That shouldn't be like that. It should be there should be care and support, no matter how many losses you've had, because each loss is different and each loss is more grief added onto them. And it's,
Mm.
yeah, there needs to be more. And I started making, like, I find it a bit of a struggle whenever I go online and it's like Father's Day. I want to find a card that says Happy Father's Day to Daddy from, like, your angels in heaven. I can't find anything like that. So I've started making them myself so that I can put them up for mums, dads, cousins, family members. They can order them, they can give them, because you still need to include. I include the girls and everything, and I'm sure a lot of families want to include their children that have passed away. So it's like, I thought, well, I can never seem to find a decent card, so I thought I'm gonna start
Mm.
making some, and then maybe there it helps with, like, including them in your life and things, celebrations. But yeah, there needs to be more. There really does. I mean,
And I'm
it's a
hoping this
shame.
podcast will
Yeah,
let people
definitely.
know,
Yeah,
you're being an advocate for parents that have lost. So,
yeah, yeah,
having a voice, being able to speak on it in a safe environment
yeah.
of no judgment, of people out there in the baby loss community that get it. And who knows, maybe a local MP will pick this up and run with it.
Be nice if they did. It'd be nice if they could see it. If it goes all around the world, that's fine. But I just think, yeah, there needs to be a lot more for mums that have lost, because it's a lot on anybody. But a mum is too much. It's too much to hold. You've got way too much there. You're only so much, aren't you? And then you have this big grief, and you're in this dark room, and you've then now got to navigate through life as a totally different person. You need that support to navigate it. You really do. And yeah, there needs to be a lot more. And I'm happy to do things. I was even, if I have to set up my own little thing in where I live, just so that mums can come and have a coffee and a chat about their babies, more than happy to do it, because yeah, there's got to be something, because we don't have nothing, unfortunately. But yeah,
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us
No, thank you for
and
having me.
sharing. And if anyone has been affected, obviously, as always, you can email me, kelly@makingmiracles.org.uk. If anyone does want to get in contact, please email me and I'll pass that on. But thank you so much
Thank you for having me.
and take care.
And you.